Hello beautiful people of the fragrance community, Mike here with iSMELL. Hope this video is finding everybody well. First and foremost, I want to send a special shout out to every single one of my subscribers. We just cracked through past 500. That is a milestone and an achievement in and of itself. So again, thank you. I really do appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, by all means, feel free to do so. And don't forget to click the notification bell. It ensures you're able to stay tuned into future content that I upload. With that out of the way though, the formalities are now out of the way. Let's go ahead and transition into today's video. In today's video, we will be doing a full and in-depth review for what many people consider to be one of the best fragrances of all time. It comes from the house of Dior and it is none other than DIOR HOMME PARFUM. We have a ton of information to get through in this video. I'll see y'all on the other side of the intro. Okay, so DIOR HOMME PARFUM was launched in 2014. This is going to be the 12th as well as one of the more coveted flankers within the DIOR HOMME line. The nose behind this fragrance is a fellow named Francois Damashi, who was up until very recently going to be the creative director as well as Dior's main in-house perfumer. He has a wide array of fragrances underneath his belt. The list is going to be extensive. Instead of listing every single fragrance that he has produced, what I'm going to do is provide a cutscene. That way I can kind of put it to scale all the fragrances that he has created. This is going to include many of the fragrances coming out of both the DIOR HOMME and Sauvage line, several of the Fahrenheit flankers, a couple of the Eau Sauvage flankers. He's also going to have produced fragrances for both Fendi as well as Acqua di Parma. I will refer you to Fragrantica for a full list, but it's safe to say he is a legend in his own right. DIOR HOMME PARFUM is classified as a woody floral musk, which simply means that there tends to be a floral component at its centerpiece and it will sit on a bed of musky woodiness. In the case of DIOR HOMME PARFUM specifically, what you can anticipate is a dichotomy of very feminine notes being blended with very masculine notes. Before we talk about what I smell on this fragrance though, let's talk a bit about the presentation, as there are a couple noticeable differences on this one as opposed to many of the other flankers. This does tend to be a very confusing line because many of the flankers within this house look similar. The first thing to note is that it says parfum there at the bottom. That's going to be the main difference between this fragrance and many of the other flankers. The second important thing to note is that the parfum comes in two different sizes. It comes in 100 milliliters as well as 75 milliliters. The 75 milliliters is going to be the older reformulations, and the newer batches come in 100 milliliters. If you can find an older batch in a 75 milliliters for a great price, scoop that one quick because there aren't many in circulation today. Most of the batches and bottles in circulation at the moment are going to come in the form of this 100 milliliter bottle. The glass itself is constructed very well. It looks very sophisticated. The juice does come a little bit darker than the other DIOR HOMME flankers. There will be a plastic cap and it does say CD right there. As long as you firmly close it, you can hold it by the cap. There's going to be no issues there. Notable notes on DIOR HOMME PARFUM is going to include up top Italian orange as well as Tuscan iris. The middle notes will be comprised of both leather as well as rose, and the base will be dominated by notes of ambrette musk, sandalwood, agarwood, aka oud, as well as cedar. I'm gonna give you a couple sprays, let you know what I smell on this fragrance. Just be advised that the atomizer is above average, as is going to be the case with every single Dior fragrance. They will be pressure sensitive. And I will be spraying my skin on this as well because it does smell distinctively different on the skin versus on a scent strip. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's an absolutely stunning fragrance, you guys. It really, really is. Okay, up top, you're going to be introduced almost immediately to a conventional orange note. This orange note is not overly sweet. Instead, it's used in a very practical way, which provides a refreshing tartness. Imagine the rindy peels of an orange versus the actual pulp of the fruit. Within a couple minutes, this is going to dissipate. The orange notes will begin to dissipate and make room for that renowned iris note that the Dior Homme line itself is synonymous with. This iris is going to be waxy, lipsticky, and moderately sweet. This iris is going to be the dominant note of the fragrance, with every single note that I talk about from here on out being a supportive role playing in conjunction with that iris note. Once this fragrance transitions into the mid, you're going to be introduced to a soft, fuzzy, and almost suede-like leather note. This leather note is slightly animalic, and it's going to provide a bit of sensual masculinity to what otherwise would be a very feminine fragrance. This leather note does remain for a good portion of the mid, but eventually it will recede and give in to the rosy nuances of this fragrance. The sweet jamminess of the rose is going to complement the dry animalic aspects of the leather note. What I appreciate most about this fragrance is that each stage of this fragrance development is different. Late into the dry down, ambrette is going to steal the show. Ambrette comes from the extracted seeds of the hibiscus flower, and it's going to be musky, slightly sweet, vegetal, as well as metallic. This is going to dominate the majority of the dry down. At this part of the fragrance, you are no longer going to be able to detect any of the iris or any of the leather, but instead it's going to be ambrette musk playing and being blended with cedarwood. Ambrette musk and cedarwood, they do blend together very nicely, and that's what you're going to get for the majority of the late dry down. What you're going to get is a lingering skin scent that is warm, creamy, and slightly spicy. It's a beautiful fragrance. Each and every single stage of this fragrance's development is beautiful. Performance on Dior Homme Parfum is going to be above average on my skin. I got a solid 2.5 hours worth of projection, followed by a solid 6 to 7 hours worth of longevity. Anything past that 7-hour mark is going to be a lingering skin scent. I have heard older batches, older formulations, the 75 milliliter specifically, did have beast mode performance, but I'm here to report on my skin, I got a solid 6 to 7 hours worth of longevity. I do think that is above average. As it relates to the seasonality of this fragrance, it is going to be relegated to colder months of the year, but that comes to no surprise because most iris-based dominant scent profiles are going to fall under that category. It's for that reason I do not see this fragrance as the most versatile. It's a fragrance, me personally, I would only wear during the colder months of the year. I live in a hot climate, so I'm not going to be reaching for this one every day. If you do live in a cold climate where it's cold the majority of the year, I do see this one as something you could be wearing as a signature scent. Just be advised, I did wear this fragrance multiple days in a row and I experienced nose fatigue. Just take that into consideration when choosing your fragrances. The availability on this fragrance is going to be scarce as it never got an official release in the United States, so supply has always been limited in the States. On top of that, there aren't many discount vendors carrying this fragrance, and Dior fragrances aren't going to be heavily discounted in the first place. You can anticipate to pay $120 to $130 for the full 100 milliliter presentation and $200, $300, maybe even $400 for the vintage 75 milliliters. That price is going to be slightly above average, but it makes sense when you consider supply and demand. Okay, so at the end of the day, the question is, do I recommend this fragrance? And that's kind of hard to say. My honest opinion is that unless you are a hardcore fragrance enthusiast or an absolute lover of iris, no, I don't think this is a must-have. Due to the lack of availability, the lack of versatility, as well as the price point, I think that this is a fragrance you could just sample 15 mils of and then cycle it during the colder months of the year, even more so if you have several fragrances that you reach for. Do I think this is a stunning fragrance? Of course. Is the scent profile complex and unique? Obviously. I just don't think that per the price point it's going to be for everybody. If you can find it for 120, yeah, scoop it up. Just don't sell a kidney trying to get this fragrance, you guys. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's Dior Homme Parfum in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoy fragrance related content, if you found value in this video specifically, I am going to encourage you one last time to subscribe to the channel. Listen, you guys, there is currently a full bottle giveaway ongoing. Watch my latest video for details about that. YouTube just awarded me the community tab because we hit 500 subscribers. I will list the winner there. We have a ton of exciting content coming down the pipe, so please do make sure you stay tuned. Until next time, you guys, y'all take care, stay safe. Bye.